Hi. Last week's massacre in Charleston was horrific. There is no question about that. But if we think that's the end of the story, we're kidding ourselves. Only there's no joke. The thing is, the people who commit these crimes, they don't exist in a vacuum. They're just the extreme. They're built, constructed, and allowed to grow in a world where we turn the other cheek far too often. And where we fail is in not seeing the connection between our own inactions and their acts of heinous brutality. We get lost in some pretty consistent ways, too. I mean, we can't like a group like PETA on Facebook, but then cross the street when we see somebody who's living there. And we can't celebrate advancements in LGBT rights movement, but not acknowledge that the civil rights movement hasn't been won yet, that it's far from it. And we can't see ourselves as truly following our own faiths, all of which are based on acceptance and unconditional love, but not stand up against the religious phobias that still remain socially acceptable. And we have to learn about our own histories of hate. We have to own them, and we have to overcome them, not just on an anniversary, but every day. And we have to see that oppression in any form is the same to the extent that if we take the time to deconstruct the phony stereotypes and ridiculous misconceptions that they're built on, the prejudice seems so stupid, and we feel pathetic for having bought into them. And that's why it's never been more important to be decent human beings. We need to see that decency and humanity, advocacy, and most importantly, humility are neither exceptional nor radical acts. We need to start seeing these things inside of ourselves, seeing them as our new normal. Instead, we need to see the fear that we so routinely place in our perception of the other as the real radical act, because that's the obscenity that serves as the seed from which horrific acts like those in Charleston last week grow, events that occur all over the world every day. Because see, the thing is, the real secret, the only thing that we've ever had to figure out as a species, is that we're all connected. That when one of us is hurt, we all bleed. That the suffering of any one of us means that none of us live in a world free of hate and fear. That there is no other. It's just a fallacy that we've constructed to feel better about ourselves, to see ourselves as superior. But we're not. None of us is better or worse than any of the people around us. That's it. It's pretty simple, really. So, thanks for listening. Miigwetch, good journey. And I hope you can start to see that there's a whole lot of stuff in this thing we see as space. Bye.